Hi guys, welcome to the Cloud for Academy. We are going to integrate Nginx cache with the Springboot. So Nginx is a web layer cache, so which is going to integrate with the Springboot. Let's get into the session, guys. Thank you.
Hi guys, we are going to discuss about Nginx today. So Nginx is a cache framework. It will be used in the web layer. So Nginx will sit in front of the web server or app server or load balancer, right? When the client request comes, Nginx will receive the request and then forward to the load balancer or web server or app server. It will forward, right? So it will whenever any page loading response time is slow, response page response time is very high, and page loading time is taking more time. So what we will know, we will tune the pages, right? For that we will be analyze, let's say if there is any backend component is issue, performance issue, then we will use any kind of cache or couch based cache. So which instead of fetching the repeated data, we will keep it in the cache, and when the request is comes, it will go to the cache and fetch the data instead of fetching from the database or server, right? So that's the reason we are using server side cache mechanism for framework we are using. Like that, Nginx is a server side cache, but it's in front of the load balancer we are using that. So even if server is web server or app server is down, still Nginx will serve the content, because Nginx will cache the web content or web assets, right? Nginx is highly performance and high performance and highly secure because it is working in the firewall protection, and also it is highly reliable, right? So first the client request comes, Nginx will receive that and then forward to the load balancer or app server or web server, right? So that's how Nginx will do. So normally Nginx will be using in the front end, in the when we need the web request is high and page load response time is slow. So those kind of use cases we can apply Nginx, right? Nginx, and even traditional application also we are using the caching mechanism, like we are using front-end cache, we are cache the JS file, CSS or images, right? Like that. So Nginx can be used on the server layer. We can cache the web content or web assets, and then it will serve the content. Even if when the server goes down, Nginx will serve that. So that's the beauty of Nginx. And now we are going to discuss how we can integrate Nginx, right? So Nginx is very simple configuration, but based on our use cases, we can configure multiple things. So just going to just say install Nginx Nginx Windows. If you say Windows, it will go to Windows, and then it will now it will go to Windows, right? So here you can download this one. You can click this. If you click this, it will download that. I already downloaded, so we can see this folder, root folder, Nginx, and then we can go to the config and we can do the configuration changes. So for config, before config changes, you can search how to configure Nginx on Windows. If you give Windows, it will get they are giving multiple websites. You can go there and you can get the steps. Nginx for Windows, if you search it, you will get the documentations. And if you say Nginx for Java, how to configure for Java, so there are multiple links will be there. You can take one of the links and then you can configure it. So configuration, you can go to Nginx config and Nginx config, the nginx.config. So this is only one configuration file, we need to modify that. So I have already changed this. So if you want to configure any SSL, we can configure. You can create a certificate and then configure the HTTPS or SSL. So but I have not configured, since it's a demo, I have not configured those things, and I have only configured the location. These four property I have added: proxy and host and the real IP address, and forward to remote address and forward that. So this is first one is, this is Spring Boot URL, because I'm going to integrate with Spring Boot. This is Spring Boot port number and your localhost. So that's why this will forward to the Spring Boot Tomcat server. So that's the reason I'm giving this one. whenever request comes to Nginx, Nginx will forward to Springboot Tomcat server, and then it will serve the response, right? Server, here we can give www like cloud4 academy, like cloud 4academy.com, something, some domain name we can give, but since it's at local, I just give an underscore. Underscore means it's local, right? So only these things, this configuration I have done it in the Nginx configuration file, and then we can go to the root folder, copy the root folder, and then go to the command prompt. You can come to the command prompt, run as administrator, and then cd nginx, and here nginx -t means the configuration is configured correctly, it's perfect and is successful, right? And then we have to start our Nginx directly. Nginx, that's it, it will start then. Now if I go there, I have not started Springboot application, I have not started Springboot application, but if I go there, what it will do normally when you are giving, let's say, localhost some 8080 something, if I give, what it will know, it will say no pages will come, but here I am giving localhost and then enter, it will say page is not available from Nginx, it will tell Nginx. This means Nginx is configured correctly, is configured perfect, that's why, sorry, page is looking unavailable on Nginx, though we are not started Spring framework, Springboot. So now I am going to start Springboot application. So it is very simple application, Springboot. Just I say hello, it's a REST API I created, and then this is a port number 8080. I'm just going to start the Springboot application now. I started. Now if I give localhost enter, it will server is started. If I give API name hello, then it will respond. See, response is coming. So same response, even if you go to Springboot URL http://localhost 8080, it is say hello. This is a complete Springboot URL. If I give this, also will give the page. But if I give something like here, actually www.cloud4academy, something will come, and then REST API URL will come. So right, so that's what it will forward. What Nginx will do, we have it will client vendor, when the client request comes, it will receive the request, and then it will forward to the Springboot server, app server, it will forward, and then it will serve the response, right? So that's how Nginx will work. So very high level, Nginx is a web layer cache framework. It is a reverse proxy. Nginx is acting as a reverse proxy, and it will sit in front of the load balancer, web server, or app server. It will sit that actually in front of the web server. It will sit, right? So it will serve the content, right, when the application server is down. So this is how we have to configure our Nginx. But Nginx can be configured, multiple configuration can be done based on our use cases. Okay, thank you guys for watching and listening. We are looking forward to join our Cloud4 Academy.